Hello again, Quill Feather here, and it's now time for another Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York game stream. Now, when we last left Lamar, he had made a couple different connections. He made a connection with Tanika, a gangrel vampire, and had some adventures with her, even saved her life. He met a male vampire named, I can't remember how it was pronounced, but I believe it was Benoit. Met him outside the church. He had received a cryptic message from him with no name, and we ended up meeting him. And then we also met Hope, who was a very, very interesting character indeed. A vampire very much obsessed with technology, and also a very interesting character. And I also wanted to, before we continue into night 6 for Lamar, I also wanted to announce to you all that I have made myself a Ko-Fi account. Ko-Fi, coffee. I'm not entirely quite sure yet how to pronounce it. I actually managed to make this account today. And if you would like to donate during or after the stream, the link is going to be in the description, and I'll go ahead and read it out loud too. That link is ko-fi.com/quillfeather55414. One more time, that's ko_fi.com/quillfeather, QUILLFEATHER 55414. And feel free to donate and support me. I really appreciate any and all donations. That allows me to pay my bills and continue making great content for you all. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and move on into Lamar's 6th night. Which it looks like the last thing we had to do was rest, so we'll go ahead and rest to move to the next night. You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passerby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker, or a kindred thrall tailing us? Are the officers idly waiting in a patrol car ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Following the cue of so many mortals around you, you stop at a street corner to casually survey your surroundings, as if you were trying to remember which turn to take. You look around ostensibly at street signs, but in reality to see if someone really is following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing off at each other. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. Alright, day passes, a new night begins. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner and looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside of his pockets, and he seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, though, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Evening. Got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might be just a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Maro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fidel servitor de la familia G. Those exact fucking words, and make sure you get the G right. You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave. You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else. Just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over." So the rush, buddy. What's with all this cloak and dagger nonsense? Didn't think your boss was a letter guy. Let's go with that one. Didn't peg your boss for a letter kind of guy. Isn't electronic communication his whole shtick? Yeah, well, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. You about done with the letter? You note the phrases and address mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in that alley over there, so find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurant patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night, but curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small, middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small table and chair, occupied by a man in a black faux leather jacket with slick, combed-back hair. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses a little as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small, steaming cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening. How can I help you? Oh man, what do they mean by be direct, I wonder? Probably be direct. I would like a bottle of the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro, please. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through a database on the laptop sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment. Sorry. Recite the phrase straight and simple. I am a fidel servitor de la familia G. Ah, in that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the doors in the back. The man by the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from the nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Wait silent and wait, chat the guy up. Probably just wait. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. The doors to the back of the store open, and the proprietor emerges with a small, unlabeled, squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. "Scusi, sorry for taking so long, but we did have it." She offers you the bottle, and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. "You do know what this is, don't you?" Oh man, do we use vamp powers? Probably best to say it's... okay, presence. You focus your blood, and immediately see both people in the shop focus intently in on you and what you're about to say. "I know exactly what this is, and I'm the right person to give it to." The woman gives you the bottle without hesitation. "Grazie." Deciding you've pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, then take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave Melita and drive back to your apartment. It takes some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. "Got the goods?" "I sure do." "Cool. Stand by. Gotta make the call." He takes a few more steps into a narrow space between two buildings and takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carrying last time. "Hey, boss. Yeah, they have it. Where do I point them to?" "Okay. Yeah, I'll tell them to go there right away." He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. "Willets Point, half an hour, so you better step on it. See you around." With only a flippant salute, you make your way back to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willets Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in the ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. Oh, geez. Looks like we have a feeding opportunity. Wait for Kaiser, look around for Kaiser, or we eat the bar owner. Let's wait. We probably need to feed, but we can do that later. Wait for Kaiser. You stay near your car and decide to wait. Kaiser must be on his way. Or, if he's not, and is instead playing one of his games, then you're not participating. You've got what he wants. Let him come to you. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road some 10 minutes later catches your attention. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time. The car doors open, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time, Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. "So you pulled it off without a hitch, then? Give it here." You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and puts the cork back in. "Yeah, that's the stuff. I can see you're useful beyond your charm with the subtlety of a battering ram. Good to know. Here's Langley's precious address." He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. May as well say thank you. Be respectful. "Thank you, Mr. Kaiser." Yeah. I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. He waves you out of the car. With the envelope in hand, you get out, back onto the torn asphalt and decrepit surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. Thomas Arturo. You met in Elysium a few nights back. That shriek is unmistakable.
"Ah, Lamar, so glad to see you. Tell me, did you two have a chance to talk previously?"
Thomas speaks up before you can.
"Why, yes, of course, and such a good first impression you made, too.
Miss Langley clearly did the right thing by taking you under her wing. I'm sure she thinks so too, don't you, Sophie?
Why, of course,
Of course you do, of course. Well, I believe I must be going. I'll be sure to let Prince Panhard know your thoughts, Miss Langley. Word for word, or as close as I can remember them.
I appreciate it, Thomas.
You two enjoy your night now. Good night, Sophie. Lamar, Greggy boy. He gives you a sly smile. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards his host and you. The doors close. He's quite the character. What a creep. What's his deal? Let's just say he's quite the character. It's polite. He's quite the character, isn't he?
Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowliest primogen.
It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience.
Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for?
I may as well be honest with her. Yes, I have it, but the data you offered was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before he would give me this card. He retrieves the envelope from you.
I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience.
He made me go into an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I had to use code phrases and whatnot. Wine shop? Code phrase? That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated, but calms down and smiles at you.
Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had to do, it'll blow over.
Oh, wow. I totally read that wrong. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over.
She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw on Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen.
Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favors. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear charge. I will contact you soon.
With that, Sophie ushers you outside, and you are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. Alright, so we have half the night left. And we can contact some other folk. Looks like there's something for Hope. Other side of Hope. Hope is about to head out into the city, accompany her and see her true face. We haven't talked to D'Angelo yet. Battle of the Cloisters, a tapping on the window, a small grayish bird flying off, a small piece of paper left on the windowsill. Prospect ASAP. Tam. Ooh, that's a tough choice. I mean, we could solidify our allegiance with Tam a little bit more. That might help. Or we could continue to build our relationship up with Hope. Or we could meet one of these new people. Oh wait, this one's new. Somebody's watching me. Part 1. Recently you're feeling as if someone keeps tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. Ooh, that sounds important. We should see if we can figure out who the fuck is following us. Gotta deal with our own affairs a little. Someone is following you around. Has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is, what to do about it. Provoke the stalker to appear, or tell Sophie. Well, she said she's busy, so we probably shouldn't bother her with this. Provoke the stalker. You venture out to the street with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside, and you step onto the street in front of your haven. Oh, wow. It's raining outside, and as you step onto the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that'll help you. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start. You slip a few bills into a homeless man. Not sure where to start. You slip a few bills to a homeless man and chat up the guy who runs the local bodega. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of their stories seem right to you. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you, and that your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated after a couple of hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet those of the man on the bike, and you both know you'll collide. Uh-oh. You'll get hurt. He hits you, pushing you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk. The courier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back. Catch a glimpse of something. Person. Female, you think. And then she disappears. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you, but in your shriveled, undead heart, you know it would be futile. She's gone. Wow. Well, we didn't catch them, unfortunately, which is lame. I guess rest. On to the next. Oh wow, we've got some new things popping up here. Let's see. Who's this? A nosy reporter. Faith and myth. Benoit's up again too. Let's see what Hope wants. Actually, man, there's a lot of twists and turns in this game. It's hard to make a choice. Seriously. Let's talk to Hope. Actually, no. Let's do Tam. I think let's do Tam. Let's talk to her. As you open the blinds, you're able to spot a small grayish bird flying off into the night. Looking down, you notice a small piece of paper on the windowsill. Prospect. ASAP. Tam. Third time's the charm, you think to yourself, as you once again cross the gate of Prospect Park and head for Tamika's Haven. To your surprise, you find her out in the open, sitting on the lawn, surrounded by a host of woodland creatures, birds and squirrels mostly. The critters each patiently wait their turn as she flicks seeds at them. It looks almost whimsical, in a twisted sort of way. Alright, hiding in plain sight, you wanted to see me. How are you holding up? I think we know her well enough now to check on her. Hell of a week, huh? How are you holding up? Well enough, all things considered. She scatters the remaining seeds onto the grass and hops to her feet. I've been doing some digging. The Inquisition has a safe house up in Manhattan. I think that's where they're keeping him. The scarred one, I mean. I want to pay them a visit. Kill that thing and as many of those SI bastards as I can along the way. Isn't that a breach of the Masquerade? Attacking a government safe house? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be considered a breach of the Masquerade? Yeah, that's the least of our worries. Throw in a legion of armed goons standing in our way and an all-powerful vampire as the cherry on top. Look, I'm not stupid. I know it's risky as hell, and I'm well aware I might not be coming back. Still, it's something I have to do, with or without your help. Just out of curiosity, does Raoul know about this master plan of yours? He does now. He emerges from the shadows a mere few feet away from you. Son of a gun finally managed to sneak up on you. Tamika eyeballs him as he gets closer. You've seen that look before. She's clearly asserting her position, but this time it comes off as a formality rather than an actual challenge. How long have you been there, Raoul? Long enough. I'm still not buying that whole scarred one bullcrap, but taking a bite of the Inquisition's collective ass is just too good to pass up. I want in. Better believe it. Why would your sister lie to you? Believe it or not, just be ready for it. Let's see. Let's just say better believe it. You better believe it. I was there, saw it with my own eyes. I'm sure you saw something. Whether or not it was the literal boogeyman they scare young ferals with is a whole different story. And with no due respect, you're hardly a fucking expert on the subject. Now, can we move this along? I'm itching to kill me some SI fucks. I probably look to her. Tamika, you got an opinion? Heh, guess I know who the alpha is around here. He should come with us. He's got a right to be there, to see the scarred one with his own eyes. Plus, my brother can be a pain in the ass, but he's one hell of a fighter. There you go. Tam seal of approval. It's settled then. Let's go. Fucking finally. And with that, you leave the relative safety of Prospect Park, steeling yourself for things to come. As you get closer to your destination, you get the sneaking suspicion that Tamika's been pulling your leg. Following her lead, you take a turn from Broadway into Fort Tryon Park. It doesn't seem to make sense, you think to yourself. There's only one spot between here and the Hudson River, but it can't be. Can it? Sure enough, as the stone facade of the cloisters comes into view, Tamika motions at you to keep out of sight. How the hell is this well-known tourist trap a hideout for the Second Inquisition? Is this place a tourist attraction? The cloisters, seriously? I say it's a tourist. Let's ask if it's a tourist attraction. Wait, isn't this place a tourist attraction? Only during the day. At night, it serves as a staging ground for the Inquisition. If my sources are to be trusted, and they usually are, they brought him here for what they call processing. Doubt they'll keep him here for long, though. If we want to get to him, it's now or never. As if on cue, a group of armed guards walked out of the museum, pushing a gurney with a large steel container on top of it. As they wheel it out into the open, a truck approaches. The operatives start preparing to load the crate onto the vehicle. You scan the area, trying to take a head count. Tamika beats you to it. I count at least 7, probably more inside. We should do this quietly and take them out one by one. Raoul frowns. I say we go in guns blazing. Figuratively speaking, if there's more inside, let them come. The more the merrier. Definitely stealthy. Tamika's right. We should get in quietly. Take them out one by one. Tamika nods in silence. Ugh, fine. But let's do this already, before you two bore me to final death. You split up, aiming to cover as much ground as possible. Sticking to the shadows, you advance, keeping track of one another's progress. You hardly even notice as Tamika takes out the first guard, not a peep out of him. Trying to keep up, Raoul kills the one to your left. He's sloppy, takes a sweet-ass time bleeding the guy out. With his dying breath, the man lets out a yelp, drawing the attention of one of his comrades. With the guard fast approaching, you ponder your options. Man. Nah, if his body's still lying around, then he might die faster, maybe, I don't know. Choke him out. As the guard walks by, you leap out of the shadows and put him in a crushing headlock. Opting for a non-lethal approach, you quickly choke the guy out. Just as you're about to move on, Raoul jumps in and plunges his claws into the man's chest. He then turns towards you and mutters a silent reprimand. No witnesses. 3 down, 4 to go. You keep a steady pace, moving across the courtyard, picking off the guards one by one. Tamika does her part. 3 to go. Raoul gets messy again. At least this time, he's quiet. With only 2 of them left, you pick one up for yourself and gesture at one of your fellow ferals to take care of the other. Tamika's quieter, but Raoul's closer. Which one will you choose? Oh. Tamika, take him out. Gotta be quiet. You wave your hand at Tam, pointing at the final target. She nods and starts making her way toward him. Suddenly, by virtue of sheer luck, he turns around just as she's about to pounce. His scream is quickly muffled, but still loud enough for the very last guard to hear. Oops. As all 3 of you approach him, the dire reality of the situation hits him like a ton of bricks. Paralyzed with fear, he keeps shifting his aim from you to Tamika to Raoul. He is severely fucked and he knows it. And since you're standing closest to him, you might as well do the honors. Sure, let's go ahead and eat him. You walk over to the quivering mess that mere minutes ago thought himself the toughest of the tough. Before he can react, you slap the gun out of his hands, lean in, and smile. Hi. Half a second later, your fang's already halfway to his windpipe. The blood tastes sour, with a hint of cowardice and regret. Could have gone out with a bang, chose to go out with a gurgle. Oh well. The SI operatives taken care of, you turn your attention to the container sitting in the middle of the courtyard. Using your combined strength, you make quick work of the steel door. As you walk in, the moonlight from behind you illuminates a twisted figure huddled on the floor. It's hard to believe that the thing lying before you, beaten and tortured within an inch of its own life, is the same creature fought back at the cemetery. What the fuck is that thing? It's what your sister warned, what you refuse to believe. His lips move as if searching for the right words. He looks to you, then turns to his sister, as if waiting for a sign. For a moment, Tamika just stands there. She looks down at the scarred one, the once fearful boogeyman, whose very mention had struck terror in the hearts of her tribe, now reduced to a whimpering pile of flesh. Finally, she turns to you with a look of childish innocence mixed with confusion, and she looks back at the scarred one. You can tell she's lost. Tam, what the hell are you waiting for? Let's kill this thing and get out of here. You're sure? Somehow it doesn't seem right. He's right, it's what you came here to do. It's your choice. Well, this was her idea. But he's right. He's right, Tam. It's what you came here to do. It's what you wanted, remember? When she turns to you again, there are tears in her eyes. For some reason, it's the most unnerving thing you could think of. Maybe I don't have to. Maybe I need to believe I don't have to. Leaving him here seems to be more cruel. Put him out of his misery. What then? Leave him at the mercy of the Inquisition? Talk about cruelty. Suddenly, the very air around you seems to thicken. You look over to Tamika. He's not quivering anymore. She walks up to the scarred one. The pitiful creature presses itself into the corner in a desperate and futile attempt to crawl away. Without a word, she grabs the creature by the ears, sinking her claws into the sides of his head. She looks him dead in the eye, Her voice is surprisingly warm, almost soothing.
You can rest now, brother.
In one fluid motion, she twists his neck off of his shoulders. The snapping sound is both sickening and satisfying. The empty husk of the once fearful beast falls to the floor like a slab of meat. Jesus, Tam, that was... What the hell was that? Beast. Closure. Hopefully some closure. Standing outside the steel container, the three of you take a moment to gather your thoughts. You look at one another, at the blood staining your hands, clothes, and faces. Moonlight, it appears black and shiny, like a fresh stain on a fresh sheet of paper. Without another word, you head back toward the city lights. The journey back takes longer than it did The journey back takes longer than it did in the other direction. With bits and pieces of the Second Inquisition still stuck to your clothes, you decide to play it safe by sticking alleys and cutting through the darker corners of the city. Mika stays several steps ahead. Both you and Raoul are quite content to follow her lead. You can tell that these last few nights have taken a toll on her, but not necessarily in a bad way. She seems stronger somehow, confident, more in tune with herself. Soon the awkward silence proves unbearable enough that you're willing to risk making small talk with Raoul. I'm still not sure what happened back there. Do you think she's going to be alright? Do you think she made the right choice? I think she's going to be alright. Let's go with that. Do you think she's going to be alright? Yeah, I think so. She's just got to figure some stuff out. Our lineage, we have a special relationship with the beast. We can either let it control us or become attuned to it. It's a constant struggle, marked with difficult choices. I think Tam just made one of them. Pondering what you've just heard, the rest of the trip barely registers. To your surprise, you suddenly find yourself back at Prospect. Tamika keeps walking. She strides through the park gate like a queen of old, turning after a victorious conquest. You want to call out to her, but Raoul stops you with a gesture. Not yet. Give her some time to process all this shit. She'll let you know when she's ready. And hey, you did alright. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're still an asshole. But yeah, thanks. He smiles at you. Wonders never cease. See you around. And with that, he follows in his sister's footsteps. A weird smile creeps onto your face as you melt New York night. Alright, we still have half the night. Let's see. I could probably go talk to Hope real quick. Let's see what she's up to. When you get to the internet cafe, Hope is already waiting out front. The sight catches you off guard. A part of you suspected that she might be more of a shut-in. My haven is my castle type. More of a shut-in, my haven is my castle type. Schumacher 2002. Perfect timing. We need to go for a ride. Get in, get in, get in. She doesn't wait for your response and jumps behind the wheel of a lavender vintage roadster instead. The engine starts roaring expectantly, causing everyone's head to turn. Not wanting to attract people's attention, you quickly slip into the back seat of the car. The moment you shut the door behind you, the vehicle sets off, tires screeching. Sorry for not bringing you up to speed at first, but hey, this is New York City. Everyone's all in a rush, and this is even more true when you're kindred. Now, allow me to take care of some business, and I'll be right with you. Even as she's zooming through traffic, she's still on her phone, of course. Nice car. Watch the road, please. Please, what's your business? Nice car. How do you afford that? Vroom, vroom, beep, beep. Thank you. The lavender really brings out its character, doesn't it? Busy work. About affording things in this city? It's pretty hard. You gotta be at the top of your game at all times. Might as well explain my business plan to you while I'm at it. So, another extremely online mall based in New York goes by the name of Dev/Null. Told me to Google Ethereum a few years ago. That's how I got into Bitcoin.
And I found a new religion. 23-year-olds selling visions of governments replaced by benign code and decentralized consensus. Masses ruled by algorithms as just as the laws of physics. Idiot man-child investors trying to shape their realities through sheer fanatical zeal, and dedicated collectors of things as abstract as rare SHA-256 decryptions. Her driving style is far more aggressive and dangerous than you're comfortable with. Is it just you, or does she peek into the rearview mirror more often than she looks straight ahead? A hyper-speculative environment where nothing has real value, only abstract beliefs matter, and your life savings can be ruined by a single bullshit tweet. How could I refuse the allure? I started buying low and selling high on a variety of shady 24/7 exchanges that allowed me with 100 times leverage, as in, they'd lend me 100 times the capital I could bet with. I got lucky at the beginning and kept the ball rolling, shorting and longing, impulsively, recklessly. I got to the point where I became too big to fail, and that's when I cashed out. The car comes to an abrupt halt. You bump up against the seat in front of you. Okay, this story will be continued later. We're here, right at our first stop. I'll need you to do me a favor. Where? What favor? First stop? Where exactly? I'm meeting a guy here. Well, you are, but I'll lend one of my handies to you for a minute. Oh, yeah. Well, you are, but I'll lend you one of my handles to you for a minute. See that weird guy in a Yankees cap standing around the corner? Approach him, tell him you're young, hot, petite ingenue. Take the phone he gives you and bring it here. Get going, honey. It's illegal to park here. You jump out of the car and approach the man Hope has pointed out. Not a lot you can tell about him based on his appearance, aside from the fact he seems pretty shady. The guy assumes a comically threatening pose as you approach him. The hell do you want? I'm young, hot, and busy. That last one's funny. Okay, let's just be upfront with him. I'm at young, hot, petite ingenue. Oh, no offense, but I kinda expected a girl. I mean, no, yeah, my bad for assuming. Damn. He takes a phone out of his pocket and covertly passes it to you. Everything has been prepared and preloaded according to your instructions. Should take about 2 minutes to transfer the data. Now get out of here. The man walks away with an exaggerated hip-hop gait. You jump back into Hope's car. She immediately steps on the gas. You got the phone? You're the best. Pass it to me, please. She connects the two smartphones using a cable and begins some sort of data transfer. Looks like it's an identical model. After a minute or so, the process is complete. All right. Goodbye, lovely. You've served me well. Hope opens the car window, grabs her old phone. You're not expert enough to recognize the exact model, but it definitely looks like it had an $800 price slapped on it, and tosses it out the window. Surprised, you look behind you and see a car in the opposite lane run over the abandoned device. Hope notices your quizzical look. I've been needing a lot of burner phones lately, and I'm not going to use some cheap piece of shit, so it's a pretty expensive necessity. Intersection. Red light. She takes advantage of the moment to shoot a driving selfie that strategically excludes her face and upload it to Instagram. You notice her handle there is Versailles CE Beauty. Now, I was telling you a story. Cashing out. Yeah.
Cashing out. Right. At some point towards the end of 2017, I became convinced I needed to cash out. There was no way the bubble was going to last forever. I always knew there would be no grapes of wrath for the cryptocurrency era. It would have to be a series of profoundly antisocial, disconnected events. The whole crypto culture was a decentralized church of lone millennials who rejected all established modern values and kept atoning for the original sin of not buying Bitcoin back in 2013. Another abrupt, last-second turn. You're pressed against the window. What the hell is it with her driving style? Bet a life you never wanted to live anyway, and get a chance to win a priceless pile of nothing. Untether yourself from all worldly desires. Find joy in suicidal ideation. To this day, money holds no real value for me. It's as abstract as a video game score. A bunch of numbers on the screen. This joyless world changed me forever. I knew I had to escape. So I took my pile of fictional dollars to a new arena. Elite NYC social circles. Not because I wanted to scam them and make more, but because I wanted to finally have some goddamn fun. I mean, of course I had to scam them in the process, but it was only in service of becoming something more than a star, a constellation. Another abrupt stop, this time next to the entrance of a shifty-looking back alley. All right, friend. This time you're leaky gut syndrome, whistleblower extraordinaire. Whatever a press sneak fuck wants... Whenever a press sneak fuck wants a leak, you've got it. Got it? Leaky gut syndrome. Sorry for putting you out there in my place, but I only personally contact people as a last resort. Gets harder to protect my identity each time I show my face. And since I've got you, our man is waiting for you in this back alley. He's paying back a favor with a flash drive containing crucial information we need to stay safe in this city. Retrieve it. I will circle the area, make sure we aren't in any danger right now. When you're done, get back here and I'll pick you up. Everything clear? Good. You exit the car and see it drive away in a hurry, then head into the narrow passageway. Sure enough, there's a man waiting for you at the end of the back street. Unshaven, wearing wrinkled clothes, with a nervous eye tick, he looks even dodgier than the last guy you met. When you approach, he gives you a mean look. You lost or something? Alright, may as well tell him what you want that we're the person. I'm at Leaky Gut Syndrome. You said you've got a little something that might interest me? Of course, straight to the point, aren't you? Alright then. Clumsily, he produces a USB stick from his front shirt pocket and holds it before your face. When you reach out to take it, he pulls his hand back and gives you a sly grin. Getting all this data is risky, you know. Miss Montgomery is an unusually secretive person. Digging up dirt on her, more effort than I expected. Effort that should be rewarded, I think. The more you ask around about her, the more you expect a letter saying, give up your inquiries which are commonly useless at your doorstep, perhaps attached to head. Drift? The secrecy surrounding her screams, friends in high places, brave new world order, Illuminati shit, you know? Makes me think I deserve some hazard pay. I ran a background check on you. You're not just some random schmuck off the street. No way you didn't know what you were walking into when you took on this job. And if you really didn't, I doubt you're the kind of journalist who can gather intel worth shit. You're bluffing the hell out of him, unsure if it's going to work. It does. The man spits on the ground angrily and raises his hands in surrender. Alright. I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that. My bad, okay? He extends the hand holding the flash drive towards you again. You take it. Oh yeah, one more thing. Not really sure what it's about, but one of my informants claims you might be interested in this. He reaches into his inner jacket pocket and presents you with something wholly unexpected. It's a bag of blood, labeled simply as ABRH. You take a closer look, but that doesn't answer any of the questions that just appeared in your mind. You peek into the journalist's cold blue eyes and see them twitch uncontrollably. Don't ask me. They said you know what to do with it, leaky gut. Come on, take it. We shouldn't eat one of her contacts. That's mean. Keep it. I have no idea who that informant is, but they've been feeding you bullshit, buddy. Yeah, I don't think so. Another eye twitch and an awkward silence. You give the blood bag one last glance and leave the alley the way you came. Hope's car appears behind the corner just as you walk out onto the street. It doesn't even fully stop when you approach, but slows down just enough so that you can jump in. The moment you close the door, she leans into the gas pedal with her full strength, causing the engine to roar. Her driving style definitely doesn't reflect how laid back she seems as a person. Got it? You throw the flash drive onto the seat next to her. Perfect. Any problems? How did the meeting go? You relate the entire back alley encounter to her. Toward the end of the story, you notice she's not staring at the road or her phone, but directly at your face. The realization startles you. You've got that... Oh no! Left it with him. Felt fishy somehow. Huh. Anything particular about it? Nothing, just label saying ABRH. She steps on the brakes. Fuck! Fuck!
I'm okay.
She grabs the flash drive you obtain and throws it out the window. Looks like that's her favorite method of taking care of problems. That bag was a message. AB negative used to be my blood type. It's the rarest one, found in less than 1% of the United States population. Glad you didn't drink it. Who knows what they've done to the bag. Some NYC vets can tell you wild stories about using irradiated blood to locate and kill other kindred. Seriously? Glad I didn't drink from him. Better safe than sorry, yeah. Still, I wonder if they would have done anything to his blood. That would be some kind of 5-dimensional chess move. Yeah, this contact is compromised and needs to be cut off. Goodbye, my journalist frenemy, and goodbye, dear leaky gut syndrome. You've both outlived your usefulness. After a brief period of hesitation, she deletes the whistleblower extraordinaire account and sighs. Another one bites the dust. I've got another story to finish. I was talking about Bitcoin, and then... where did I stop? NYC elites. NYC elites. Oh, right. You know who saw the real face of this city? Anna Delvey. Ever heard of her? A Russian working-class girl born as Anna Sorokin. She moved to New York at 13 and convinced everyone that she was this insanely rich trust fund kid, a wealthy German heiress. And elites totally fell for it, and they bought it for years while she swindled them. She only got arrested in 2017 after having stolen almost $300,000. Sorokin created her Delvey persona out of thin air, convinced everyone that she was going to set up an art fund, and kept tasting all of life's finest pleasures while being basically broke. She even made up a fake family financial advisor, then killed him off when he became a liability, and apparently most of her rich victims never admitted to being scammed out of shame. By now you're sure. The way she scrutinizes her surroundings, her reckless driving, she's trying to escape somebody. Now Delvey's locked up with murderers in Rikers, writing her memoirs, apparently picking a lot of fights. Bless her heart, she'll forever be an inspiration. But I have more advantages than she ever did. I have my own considerable funds, and I can rely on many more made-up people than just some old-ass financial advisor. A whole bunch of fake content creators and influencers that every rich dumbass wants to get in touch with and collaborate. Makes it super easy to earn more money than I invest. You've seen it firsthand, both as a deceiver and the deceived. It's a city of illusions. Make non-existent money, come up with a fictional status, play nonsensical Camarilla games. And one day, you might just find yourself at the top. Alright, we're reaching our last stop. You look around. You're coming up on a parking garage. You're going to take an elevator to the 70th floor. Give the masked man you meet in front of the door this memory card. It contains an art house movie I've made. What do you mean by art house? You've seen me rehearse in my haven. You know what I mean. You didn't think I was doing that just for show, did you? I found some filthy rich Manhattan pervs who will pay a fortune for a convincing vampire cam show. I don't need money, but their IT industry connections gave me an idea. When we give them this memory card, we'll gain access to tech that should allow us to take on my biggest enemy in the city. So your nickname this time is going to be... Oh no! A crash. You are momentarily dazed and can't immediately understand what happened. The first thing you know for sure is, if you were still a normal human being, you'd be dead. You replay the last few seconds in your head. The other car appeared out of nowhere and crashed into Hope's vehicle at the maximum speed it was able to achieve in this closed-off space. The driver has already managed to kick open the mangled door next to him and stumbled out of his seat. Now he wordlessly approaches the trunk and takes a large caliber silenced pistol out of it. Who the fuck is this? He starts approaching the lavender wreck of Hope's car, obviously ready to finish the job that he started. You have to be fast and violent. It's you or him now. Attack him. Your instincts take over. You don't come up with a strategy or an optimal route. You simply start running towards the gunman, yelling. For a split second, he's completely dumbfounded. Then he opens fire. The bullets put a brief stop to your sprint. You're engulfed in pain, your flesh and clothes being shredded to bits. But when his magazine runs out, you're still standing and determined to move forward. He tries to act as quickly as possible, but he can't reload his weapon before you get him. A tackle, a primal scream. Left punch, right punch, left punch, right punch. You return this cruelty tenfold to his face. When you're done, the head is barely recognizable as human. You stand above the gunman's body, trying to calm yourself and your killer instincts. That's when you hear her voice. Hope slithers out of her car and sees you standing over your assailant. Huh. You did pretty good. She approaches the body of the driver you killed and kicks it so she can take a better look at it. Upon seeing the front of the corpse, she lets out an annoyed grunt. Knew it would be this asshole. He's been following us all day, and I know just who he belongs to. Even before she's done talking, she's already trying to reach someone through a video call. Eventually, she succeeds. You see a nonchalant woman in business casual on her smartphone screen. Kara Montgomery, how may I help you? Kara. Hope. Didn't expect you to ever reach me through this channel. Have you thought things through? Wait, did something happen? Did something happen? Your fucking ghoul just tried to kill me, you crazy bitch. That's what fucking happened. Calm yourself, for Christ's sakes. This is a baseless accusation. I know he's from Double Spiral. He's been working at your motherfucking company. Come on, you know I can't be held responsible for the independent actions of my subordinates. Why don't we just meet up and talk it over? Hope disconnects the call and instantly blocks Kara from contacting her. Corporate shithead. You make me sick. Tired, she turns her gaze to the dead ghoul. I'll dispose of him. Help me put him in my car. Real quick, I just want to see what the definition of ghoul is. That's a new word. Ghoul. A minion created by giving a bit of vampiric vitae to a mortal without draining them of blood first, which would create a vampire instead. Okay. 30 seconds later, his body is laying on the back seat of the lavender-colored wreck. Okay, good. You take a look at the screen you take a look at the scene of carnage in front of you. Every second we're here gets us closer to a serious Masquerade violation. I'll have to exchange my Palme Dior-worthy masterpiece for the goods some other time. She gets behind the wheel, and you follow her inside the car. Meet me back in my haven when I tell you it's safe. For now, I need to dump this asshole somewhere, get my car fixed, and plan our counterattack. You guide Hope to your own haven. She drops you off, and before she leaves, she makes what's about to come perfectly clear. If we want to survive in this city, Cara Montgomery needs to die. She disappears into traffic, and you disappear into your place. Well now, that was certainly an eventful night, wasn't it? Alright, we'll go ahead and rest here. Kadir al-Assami, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. Uh-oh! The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as a permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't really had the time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment through and through, a secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on this shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit next to all this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. Kind of place that self-professed hermits entomb themselves into suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball today? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. They're all the same. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you. Spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure what will happen next. That endless car ride. 3 strikes. A bloodthirsty crowd. That blade. A rebirth. A baptism by fire. A frightening executioner who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you, and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see. But that, obviously, remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I used to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations. Even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice. A voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than the who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and all their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motivations which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. Why are you here, and what are your motivations? You unnerve me. This monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What is this about? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. And you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? Let's just be general. You mean someone I'm trying to recruit into my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them, and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking. Mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. His sister. Emma. The only person who's kept you hanging on through all these years. The only person you have in your corner in your never-ending fight against the world. You've kept your shit together so far and tried not to think about her until you got everything sorted out. But seeing her face brings a lump to your throat. You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. I'll be frank. At first I thought you were a total commercial failure, someone destined to eventually disappear from the streets of New York without a trace or one soul to care. But it looks like your sister is the best guardian one could ask for. Lots of friends in high places and lots of favors to collect. The word is, she'll do anything to get you back. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent, which means your sister must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange... What? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually, these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappear, take care of unfinished business, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple. It's clean. No contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kind they used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well. I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the doors on you. God damn it. You need to think it through. For a long time, you just sit there in your haven, lost in your thoughts, trying to come up with lies that will convince the only person who's ever seen the real you. Alright, we still have half the evening. Oh, goodness. I'm not entirely sure we should help Hope kill someone. That sounds bad. Damn it, someone's still watching us. It's annoying. Nathan Myth, Part 2. We can go and talk to him. Let's deal with this fucker that keeps following us around. You're in your haven when the intercom rings. Answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello, I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. Who's this friend? Better not talk about that on the intercom. Secrets are secrets. The man sounds strangely excited, breathing hard. You may have the wrong address. No, wait. I know you're one of them. Please, it's all right. I don't mind. You can drink with me if you understand what I mean. A man you've never seen before is paying a visit to an apartment not many people know of, offering you to feed from him. I don't drink with people I've never met. Don't worry, we can meet. Silence. A minute passes, and you hear a knock on the door to your haven. You cautiously open the door. A stranger looks at you sheepishly. He's in his 30s, dressed in a clean business suit. He looks moderately successful. Someone you could meet at an investment bank. I'm sorry, I didn't want to intrude, so that's why I called from downstairs. Please leave. I don't want to see you around here again, and tell whoever sent you they can come see me themselves instead of sending lackeys. Please, feed from me. It's all right, really. The man sounds desperate. Whatever this is about, you want no part of it. I'll break your face. Sure, threaten him. I'll break your face if you don't turn around and disappear the way you came. Please, I'm sorry. The man turns around and runs down the hallway. He dashes into the stairwell, and you hear him running down. Not a brave man, this guy. You're left to wonder what this was all about. Who was this guy? And why did he show up trying to offer you his blood? Weird. Alright. End of this night. I think this would be a great stopping point, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow night for more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. I hope you all have a wonderful and pleasant